Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I'm going to start working on this Bally Fireball Home Edition. So I got this in about a week ago. Just stood it up. I tried to talk the guy out of bringing it. I really did. Told him, they're not real valuable, but it's real valuable to him. It's kind of a family deal. So here it is. I've never worked on these things. I don't know much about them. The other night I got on PinWiki, and there's a pretty decent page on PinWiki dedicated to the home editions, and they've got some of the schematics are posted on there. So I just stood this thing up. It's got some connectors coming out of the back, kind of like an old EM a little bit. It's got a power cord. There's the head. It's got a few I guess those are just GIs. They're not controlled, I don't believe. That wire's busted off. That may go right there. I think that does. That goes right there. Yeah, so those are just GI lights. No big deal there. And the board, MPU, I believe. So this is everything. So it's got the drivers here. It's got some chips. It's got some kind of a little pod there. It's got the display. It's got some more solenoids. I don't know anything about this. And these are some controlled lights that are built into the board. This is way ahead of its time. This is what Stern's doing now, putting the lights right on the board. Anyway, looks like those two connectors over there plug into this board here, and that's it. Well, there's the power slide in the bottom of the board, in the bottom of the game. Apparently those are pretty crappy power supplies, so I'm going to start there for sure before I even try to plug in this board. The board may be 100% good, I don't know. But so first thing I gotta do is figure out how to get in the game, because it's not super obvious. There's no door. I mean, it's home edition. So I guess I unscrew these bolts here. Or those three, those are rivets or something. Or they're bolt got nuts on the back side of it. I don't know. I'm gonna do those those screws there, and see if I can get the lockdown bar off, get the glass out, get the Playfield out, so I can get down and see what kind of nonsense of a power supply there is in this game. I just got back from lunch. Me and Django were driving out there, and Django says to me, "You know what Joe said?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know what Joe said." And he says, "Joe said, you know what the hippie said?" I'm like, "Come on, Django." I was like, "No, what did Joe said that the hippie said?" The hippie said, "Power supply, power supply, power supply." That's a long way to get kind of a crappy joke that only a few of y'all get. But anyway, power supply is the first thing you always got to look at on these things. Joe says that the hippie said it, and the hippie was right. So, screwdriver, I'm going to take this thing apart, see if I can get this lockdown bar off. Take them out. They're actually screws, not bolts. And sure enough, so they just go right through those little plastic grommets, and this glass is coming off, and I'm going to yank it open. All right, so I got the glass out. I got it kind of propped up here temporarily. Let me show you underneath here. So all the controlled lights are on these circuit boards. There's really not much machinery under here. Looks like a couple pop bumpers and pop bumpers. Is that slingshots and pop bumpers? Some switches. I guess all those the spinners go through, but everything else, all the other switches are. Is that one of the switches? That's a lamp there. Like that stand-up target right there. It's behind that board, I believe. Yeah. Oh, I see that. So those little switches are right mounted on the. I think you can see that little cherry switches. I believe. Well, no, that's that one there. Wow, that's one way to do it, huh? Big long lead on the cherry switch running over to the spinner. So that's not the switch I thought it was. Yep, there's the other. So they're just cherry switches mounted to the back side of this board for all the targets. It's like, well, at least on that target right there. And also, yeah, see that one there? I need another hand. You can hear the cherry switch. So everything's mounted to these boards. Is that a speaker? Yeah, that's a speaker. Huh. You got a tilt bob. And what we're really after is the power supply. And I did notice that one wire is just hanging there. I need to get this Playfield out. So I've already pulled those two sets of plugs back out this way. And if I undo this one here, then this Playfield is going to come completely out of this game. I'm going to go ahead and mark these just in case there's a way to do them backwards. Yeah, and those are all original caps, so I'll start by maybe pulling that board out of there, and we'll see. First, we'll start by getting our voltages to that header pin there. I guess there's a transformer in here, I suppose, probably. Here's the outputs. There's a LED right there. It's kind of wild. Yeah, there's an LED right there. I don't quite get that. I'm gonna have to dig up the schematics. I think I found them the other day. So, but let me get this Playfield out of the way and we'll be able to see it better. All right, so I got the Playfield out. Unfortunately, some of the stuff is not plugged. The tilt bob's not plugged. The flipper switches are, but you can't, without unsoldering this. There is enough slack to just sit it on the ground. So cabinet's actually fairly clean. This is a little bit troubling. It'd be one heck of a thing if that was the only thing wrong with it. Here's another bare wire here. Red and black. Is that the two hot ones? I don't know. So that was not filming very well. This one was plugged in there. I see the 3 marks, the 3 marks. So this is the voltage going in, and that's the everything going out of this power supply. I think before I do anything, well, I should probably, I need to get schematics, but I don't know what this is. So this looks like somebody was trying to take something parasitically off here. I don't know what all this nonsense is. It looks stock. These wires they're solid wires. You can tell they don't fold very well. So I don't know about that. And that doesn't make any sense at all to me. So I don't know what this is. I think, let me see if I can find schematics, and then I can at least measure my voltages coming out of here, out of the transformer, and check that, and then I can start working through the power, that's gonna be our 5-volt supply there, and some filtering, and probably some other voltages maybe. So apparently there are 2 models of this. I know I'm upside down, but this is model GD 1110. So this is what I was looking at. There's a Fireball Series 1 and a Fireball Series 2. I don't see anything that says GD 1110. I guess we'll figure it out later. Maybe. I looked at this the other night, and there's a difference in the power supply. So I'll scroll down. I'll get to the power supply and bring you back in. So this is a layout of the MPU. It's the everything board basically of the Series 2 layout, and so I've got the Series 1 because these transistors alongside are oriented the other way, and the lights are kind of dispersed around, not like that. So this I've got a different board. I've got the Series 1, I'm pretty sure. Just a little further confirmation. Here's the Series 1 power supply, so it's got the 2 sets of header pins. And here's the Series 2 power supply. It's just got well, if it's 2, it's very small. So I've definitely got the Series 2, or Series 1, sorry. So here is my schematics. So I'm gonna open this up. I may print it out so I can take it over to the game, and I can actually read it. That's great. So I can, yeah. make sure I've got all these voltages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 7.5 between A1 and A2. Yeah, so I'm gonna be able to, I'm gonna print this out, take it to the game, and see if I've got all my voltages coming out of the transformer to start. Actually, I plugged this thing in, and I was just pulling this out to check it, and it fell apart in my hand. So, boy, wouldn't that be something? A fuse. I'm gonna unplug it before I grab that fuse. The fuse is actually good. I thought it had broken, but it had just fallen out when I yanked the lid off. So I'm gonna throw it back in there, plug it in, start measuring voltages. All right, so our common, or 0, is pin A7. These things are labeled from the bottom as 1 to 9. So that third red one down, or the first red one, would be number 7. So that'd be our common. So I'm gonna put one lead in there, put my black lead in there, and then I'm gonna just measure all the other ones and see if I get the voltages that I'm supposed to have. Everything should be AC because it's coming out of the transformer. So I'll put my meter on AC and we'll start going. Okay, so that time when I turned that switch on, I heard a little bit of a hum. Look at there, 8.5 volts. Okay, so now we're good. I'm gonna put those bolts back in there before I get too far along. And a little nut. And then I'm gonna check all these voltages. I'm too far zoomed in. So let me pull that out. So that was 1. That was number 1. So number 2 should also be 7.5 volts. Yep, 8.5, okay. Number 3 should be 16.5. It's not. About number 5. How about we try this? I'm gonna just try going between the two 16.5s instead of going halfway between the two. I'm gonna do that. Still nothing. So it looks like I don't have voltage on the either one of the 16.5s. I don't quite get that. That could be a problem. I am gonna go ahead and take this thing the rest of the way off. So I'm gonna do that right now. All right, it's working now. I can't believe it. I did reset that fuse, that resettable fuse, that red post. I thought I was measuring some of the voltages before, but maybe it was just got a little spurious voltage. So I'm gonna measure these 16.5s here. I get it on there. So there's 18, there's the other 18. And 1 and 2 are the two 7.5s, 8.5. Oops, I get it on there. 8.5, okay. And then I got a 0 and 5 on these last two here. It's a different ground, so I got to move the other pin. So we've got all our voltages on here. Pretty confident about that. So now I'm going to pull the power supply board out of here. I'll go ahead and recap it. Check the parts that I can check pretty easily. Check these diodes. Make sure the caps aren't shorted. Need the little baby caps, the little tantalums, and a little resistor. Measure those. See if that voltage regulator is shorted. Looks like there's a couple more. I don't know what those are. Some kind of voltage regulation probably. Anyway, I'm gonna yank that board out and look at the schematics and recap and do some upgrades, whatever I can. Well, this thing comes out nicely. It just slides on out. Of course, you got to get the transformer out first, but oh, it doesn't. That would have been nice. I was like bragging on them, and yeah, not so. Just a couple of screws, then it would come out. So I still didn't see any use for these, and I don't know what the heck to think of this. I can't even see where it's. I think this is the in and out. This is not actually connected to anything inside. So this is just, these are just dead-ended. I think at one point this was probably, somebody had some kind of little circuit going here, but I don't know what it would be. It almost looks like that was, you know, that board there, that's not a homemade board. I mean, that looks like a factory board, but I don't know what it would go to. With alligator clips, you know, I don't know. Bizarre. I haven't seen anything on the schematics or in PinWiki yet about this. But for the moment, I got this board out. I'm gonna take it to the bench and work through it. So before I even start measuring things, I'm gonna go ahead and change all these electrolytic caps, because they are way past the prime. And I like to just cut one end, unstrap them, makes them a little easier to get off. At least these big ones like this. Leave as much of the tail ends of them as possible, so you got something to hold on to so you can pull them out without getting quite as hot. Give yourself a little bit of room for it to cool off a little bit. So I'm gonna yank all these out one at a time. 10,000. 20,000. I don't know if I got a 20,000. Probably got a 15. Can't imagine what they need a 20,000 for in this game. It's not like it's driving a whole lot. We could look on the schematics and see. Anyway, I'm gonna get after it. I'm not gonna film all this because it gets a little boring. So I got all these electrolytic caps gone. I had to double up on the 20,000. I didn't have that big. I had two 12,000, so I got a 24,000. And on the 10,000 is a 35 volts. I didn't have that much voltage, so I had two 4700s that were 35 volts. So I got almost a 10,000, 35 volts. Actually, I think that's even more 47. Yeah, it's 35 volts. Anyway, so I'm gonna get my test multimeter, put it on diode test, and test some of these things. These are so dirty. I don't know if they'll. Okay, I'm reading. I'm off the screen here. 0.69 or 0.5. That looks good. This thing's so dirty. Yeah, 0.5. That's good. Here's another one. May have to go to the back of the board to get a clean spot on this thing. So nasty. I think I will have to do that. And there's two more there. So I'll do all those. I don't know which way it is now. Well, that's not it. Must be like this, because that's the same one. I was like, that's a dead short. Must be charging up a capacitor y'all can't see because it's taking a while. Yeah, it's going across like that. So actually, I need to go like that. When they're slow to build up like that, it's usually because you're charging a capacitor. So that's good. It's kind of nice. These are labeled on the back of the board. See, like right there, that should be, I believe, yeah, some diodes. .5. Well, that's going to be the same because let's see what this is. Yeah. I measured these on the other side. Yeah, there we go, 0.5. Okay. I think there's those two little bitty ones. Yeah, right here they are. It's real nice having them printed on the back of the board. 0.5. I think I saw it there for a second. 0.5. All the diodes look good. Well, let's see if we've got anything going on here. So I think I've seen them all. I think that looks good. Nothing's shorted. We got these little, I don't know, some kind of transistor looking thing. Whoa, that doesn't look very good. 0.046. Well, that one looks the same. If I can get it on there. Thought I saw 0.0 or something real small there for a second. Those two, almost a dead short. Yeah, I'm just not making contact with them. These are the same. Almost a dead short. Or at least, no, I'm just building up a capacitor. We'll let it go. Okay, that looks all right. Okay, so we got 0.5 and 0.6. Let's see. That does not look right. So those are different parts, but still. Okay, so that base is my middle leg. Yeah, that's not right. Q101 is shorted out. It's kind of good to find stuff like that, because then it's like, okay, maybe that's the whole problem. I mean, I haven't plugged it in, but he said it didn't work, so. Okay, there's that. Yeah, that's a bad biscuit, Q101. That's why I do this, so I can try to find stuff like that. So let's see if we can find Q101 and see what it is in the schematics. So the schematics that I printed out from PinWiki, this little box scenario, this is the modified version. That part that's blown on this board, they suggest swapping it with a 7818. So here's the original at 3055, that's what mine has, and that's the transistor that's bad. So you get rid of that transistor, you get rid of that diode, and you get rid of that resistor. So that's that big resistor, that's that diode, and you get rid of that transistor, and you stick in a 7818 and wire it up just like that. So apparently that reduces a lot of heat, and apparently this is a real common one to go out on this. So I don't have one of those. I'm gonna order a LM7818, and I think it'll be here just like that. So just like that, my LM7800 arrived and hopped in this board. And if you see, I've got those first two legs swapped. So let me show you kind of what I'm working on here. So let me first pull up. Yeah, that's the tip 35. So this is one that came out. So 1, 2, and 3 are the base collector emitter. That's the tip 3055. And the LM7800 so that's collector, base, and emitter. They're in different order, 1, 2, 3. So it's collector, base, emitter, kind of a more traditional. So you just write them out, 1, 2, 3, base, collector, emitter. The old and the new, you see the first two legs need to be swapped around. So that was the first thing I did. So I just twisted those legs and soldered in there. You got to make sure they don't touch. If you've worked on some of the early Williams high voltage power supplies, you have to do that if you're rebuilding those, because they don't make the power supply for that, the 100 volts or the minus 100 volts, one or the other, I forget. Anyway, couple other things I'm gonna have to do. So you got to take out that resistor. I did that. You got to take out that diode there. The positive side of this 50 microfarad capacitor, it was attached to the base in the old one. In the new one, it's moved over and it's collected, it's attached to the emitter. So the way I accomplished that was, this is that 50 volt, 50 microfarad capacitor, the back side of it. And basically, it was attached to the base. I move it to the emitter by, I basically cut that and I just put a bridge there. So now what was the base is attached to nothing right now. So what I need to do now is just put a jumper between the base and the ground. So and I think I'll be done with this. And yeah, so I don't know exactly where I'm going to take the ground. I mean, I could potentially, I don't know, I may be able to put it in that die up. No, I'm gonna have to. I'm just gonna put a jumper. So I'm gonna take a jumper between where that pin is right here, because right now it's literally attached to nothing. It's just got a little stab of solder. So I'll go from there, and I'll probably just take it all the way over to the header over here, and take it directly to ground there. So I ended up just going, taking a jumper from there to there, which is the negative side of the 10,000 microfarad capacitor that goes across here, which is basically the way it was before. So it goes right there without the diode gone there. Or if we're looking at the modern schematics, it's basically right to there, which is the same as point is right there. So I guess I'm ready to throw this in the game, do a smoke test, and see if we're getting the proper voltages coming out of this thing. One last thing is this LM7812, or sorry, yeah, I believe it's 7812. 7818, sorry. According to PinWiki, it doesn't require the heatsink, but they recommend it, make it run even cooler, so I went ahead and bent it down. Gotta make sure those legs are not touching, especially once it's bent over, and they're not. So I think it's good to go. So I'm gonna throw it in and smoke it, or see if it smokes. All right, so I got the board plugged in the game. I got one end of my multimeter plugged into pin 8, which is the common for the top half. There's another 0 volts down here. I may have to go to this other 0 to get the 5 off this. I don't know how well those two grounds are tied together on this board. Between the top and the bottom, I didn't look. I don't want to mess with it now because, well, we'll see. I'm gonna turn it on. We'll do the first part, the smoke it. Okay, no smoke. I guess I'll just start with, so 1 should be 0. It's 0. And 2 should also be 0. They're tied together, and it is. I don't see 3. Okay, 3 and 4 should be 5. These are the ones that I don't know because they've got a different ground basis. So I'll check those later. 3, 5 should be 5 volts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have 5 volts. That's good. Okay. 6 plus voltage LED. Huh. Let's see if we get something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5.7. That looks like a good LED voltage. LED. I wouldn't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wonder if it's got LED displays. I don't know. But that's like, I don't know. I don't know what voltage that's supposed to be honest. Maybe it says in PinWiki, so that seems like something reasonable. 7 is driver return, so that should be a ground. It is. 8 is common. I'm already on that one. 9 is speaker return, so that should be another ground. 10 is 22 volts. 8, 9, 10. Ooh. Dead. Oh, 22 volt return. Okay, that's another ground. Good. Okay, 11's a key. So 12. Where are you, 12? 12 is 18 volts. 18 volts. And where's 13? 13 is 22. 22. 14 is 22, just right above it. And then 15 is 12. Okay, so we've got all our voltages. We need to check these last two, so I'm gonna turn the game off. There we go. Move this one here down to pin 1. I'll turn it on again and see if we've got 5 volts on pin 3 and 4. We do not. Oh, that's 5 volts AC, because that's coming straight off the transformer. So let me switch to AC. Okay. And we do. Okay, so we have all our voltages. That one, a little uncertain, because I don't know what the voltage is supposed to be. Plus voltage. It looks like it says LED. I'm just going to assume it's working, because everything else is, right? I'm going to call this good for now, until I find out that it's bad. And maybe I'll look on PinWiki and see if it says what it's supposed to be. That's coming in as 7, so it's probably going to be a little bit less than that. So that 5.7 regulated, that seems about right, you know? I don't know. Anyway, so I think I'm going to stop this video here with the power supply, and next thing I'm going to do is put the head on, and I'll probably just go through this board. Yeah, I don't know what kind of there's obviously, those may be LEDs, because there's no, it's not plasma, because it doesn't have any high voltage. It need, you know, 150, 200 volts. So maybe those are LEDs, and maybe they're operating, yeah, they're numeric. Like I said, I've never worked on these before, so I'm learning as I go. I guess that's supposed to be folded out, yeah. I bet that's what it is. I don't know what the voltage is supposed to be exactly, but I bet it's around 5.7. Anyway, I'll go through this board in another video and go through the Playfield. Hopefully this board is going to just boot up. I don't know. Looks like everything is socketed. That could be good or bad, depending if the sockets are any good. Nothing looks obviously burnt. But anyway, I'm going to stop now. If you liked the video, click like and hit that, smash that subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Just a little follow-up. I found this on PinWiki. Plus voltage LED display is 7. So I was a little below that, but you know, I'm not going to worry about it for now. We'll see. We're first going to see if we can get this MPU board to boot up, and it very well may. I don't know. I assume that somebody's probably plugged it in before, but they didn't have all the voltages going. So I guess what I was working on was the solenoid voltage. But heck, I don't even know if that board will boot up without the solenoid. It may need solenoid voltage to boot up. I have no idea. Never worked on one of these, so I'm a lost puppy in this world. I'm learning as I go. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.